So I'm in here with my brother Bill Singleton. We're back on the network podcast, and we're still chopping it up a bit. Bill, when you were a young brother, what did you always want to be when you were younger? What was something that you was thinking about? Like, this is what I want to do. What was one of those goals?
I always wanted to be a businessman. Sit at home and make some money, and go out and be able to have enough to change something or build something. That's why I created the board game. It was
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. You said you created a board game.
I was 13 years old, and I said I can do a better job than Monopoly, and I want to do it on stocks and bonds and big corporations. When you're a kid, you think just of that. Now I probably would have another board game limiting the powers of corporations, but at the time it seemed like business good. Not always now, okay? But I wanted to just have independence. I didn't want to have, to ask someone, could I do this? I just wanted to be able to have enough resources to do it. And I've always wanted to act or, produce or direct. I mean, I always liked movies. In fact, I think that's why I got into real estate, because real estate is really critical to movies.
So what was your first movie name? Was it a trailer? How did you come across your first type of film?
Oh, geez, when I was a little kid making movies with Army toy soldiers and stuff.
Toy soldier? How'd that go?
It was all right, but it was Super 8, and I realized I don't like it where I have to take this to get it developed somewhere. So I've always been given a video as opposed to film, because you always have it in someone else's hand as a Super 8, You got to wait for Kodak to. I'm like, please, I don't want to deal with all that. And we had made a short film at school at Harvard, and the lady shot the film and everything, and I was an actor in it. And then she said, "Well, we can't see it because someone exposed the film wrong, and they lost the film." I said, I never want to be in that situation again.
So you stepped it up to shooting your own.
I was always interested in the digital, and XL1 and then RE has come out with great images, and then you got to think of what Hollywood was doing at the time. To ship film around, it was like $2,000 per art house.
What? What? Why was it so expensive to ship the art?
Because of trucks and all the rest of this. But then they came up with transporting stuff digitally. That was only $200 per art house. Now, which one do you think most of Hollywood went with? The $200 transportation to get a film out. Because you've got to imagine, it was mechanical, it was chemicals. They had to ship these films to these art houses, these copies. Now they could just beam it to the art house, and it looks nice. Most of the films now are shot digitally, and I predicted that.
And then, what's crazy too, Bill, because you were telling me the other day about like the shift. How do you feel seeing the shift since you're like a real OG and seeing the film? What do you see with the shift?
The only thing is that the technology got better, but the films got worse.
Oh man!
All of a sudden, what was really quality, unique or special, became kind of like bargain basement storytelling. It was always about who has the drugs, or are you a drug taker, or are you catching the drug dealer, or are you making the drugs? It's not about telling real stories anymore. It's about
like these watered down stories. You ain't really
formulaic movies that they keep trotting out, and it's not about human beings. And I think that certain folks do not want unique stories or do not want powerful stories, because these stories are truthful and they tend to liberate you, okay, if they're truthful stories. That's why a lot of young people are going to documentaries, because they can't formulaically produce a documentary on something that happened for real. So I think that that's the technology's gotten better, but we put too much on the technology or the AI, and how crisp it is.
And that's why I say you use it as an assistant, and then you don't let it take over. We still want that human. I say the human touch is the last touch. What do you think?
The human touch is the real touch.
Oh, he said the real touch. I said that. I said the last touch. He said the real touch. Now that stands out because there's so much computer, so much tech. It's so much tech and so much computers out here. I'm really shocked that I'm really just intrigued that you've seen the shift from the film to the digital, and then you get to see like the years of change, and you get to have like an opinion on it.
Oh man, just think of the great movies. When I grew up, on Easter we saw Ten Commandments, Ben-Hur, big, big movies. All during the '80s and stuff, you would see some great films. JFK or.
What was your favorite movies looking at in the '80s?
In the '80s, name some in the '80s because I'm.
80s, I think. Then Scarface come out in the 80s. Then Paid in Full, stuff like that.
Favorite.
That wasn't what you, but you liked it. Like what type of movie?
In the '80s, what was? I think JFK came out in the '80s. I think JFK. That was one of my favorite ones because the way he told the story, Oliver Stone told the story. But there was other stuff in the '80s that was good too. Wall Street, I think. That was very good, Oliver Stone.
So did that motivate you to start shooting films when you were looking at stuff in the 80s? Did you get any inspiration?
I always wanted to do films. I mean, this was. If you name some of the '80s, I can tell you the ones that were my favorite. I go back to the '60s where you had Lawrence of Arabia, and Breakfast at Tiffany's, or Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, or let's see some of the. I mean, of course, I like Spike Lee's joints.
Spike Lee was a beast, right?
I was a kid and I loved all the stuff he did. It was like, wow, get to see Hungry Image. Of course, you had. I'm trying to figure out what it was in the '80s, man. It's been a while.
That inspiration, though, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I know you was inspired by the kid, but did you get inspired by like the inspiration? Hold on.